local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the
Good morning, Bellows Falls, Keene, and Rockingham, and welcome to the feed with Mike and Marty. Today's April 26th, getting up to May Day.
We are getting to
Yeah,
May.
spring's coming, looks great. Today we're going to be talking with Keith Marks from this Next Stage Arts. He's going to be filling us in on who they are, what they do, and what's coming up. And it looks pretty exciting, so it's going to be a great show. Local events, Marty.
Local events, I'll go through them super quick. So at the Bellows Falls Opera House is the second week running of the Super Mario Brothers. That's going through till May 2nd. For our classic movie happening this evening is Moonstruck. There's a classic.
That was really
Cher
good.
from back in the day.
Cher.
And that is sponsored
And
by
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage, right?
Yeah.
Sponsored by Greater Falls Insurance. Just want to point out that Greater Falls Insurance is one of the regular sponsors of Classic Movie Night. And I know that, I'm just plugging again, that the Classic Movie Night is in need of some regular business sponsors because they lost two of their biggest business sponsors. So if you have a business or a group of friends and you're looking to do something good for the community, you can sponsor a Classic Movie Night. Just reach out to the Opera House. Happening May 18th at the Opera House is Smells Like Nirvana. Obviously it's a Nirvana cover band coming. That's being produced by PK's and Cider Productions. I don't think it's Cider Magazine anymore, but Cider Productions. It is coming to that time for Green Up. You did ask.
Yes,
It is traditionally that time. It's Saturday, May 6th. You can meet at the town hall at 9 a.m. You can get Green Up bags. You can get assignments. It's going to be a combination of Green Up Day and then the folks that have been working to do the Keep BF Beautiful that they've been doing throughout the summer. So it's the kickoff to that season as well. So if you show up at 9 a.m., they'll give you an assignment. You can come back to the town hall around 11:30 and there'll be a potluck lunch for you. And speaking of music, reminding everyone to save the date for Saturday, January 10th. It's the Bellows Falls Festival, the first ever Bellows Falls Festival. It's sponsored by Wild Goose Players and Rotary, and we also have some help from Mascoma Bank and M&T. We will be having musicians from 1 until 10 p.m. We also have a few other exciting things that David Stern will talk about when he comes in a couple weeks. We have food trucks. We have the Moose. We have Smoke and Bowls, Tito's Taqueria. Donovan's will be there providing adult beverages. So it's going to be a good time. Tickets are available on the actual Bellows Falls Festival site, and you can just click on that QR code that we just showed you, and that can take you directly to ticket sales. There, I went through quickly.
That's great. Well, Keith, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got here?
Sure.
Pardon
My name
me.
is Keith. I am the executive director at Next Stage. Grew up in New York, and then grew up New York and then Florida, and then I had the fortune to travel around the world. I lived in Europe, I lived in Asia, I lived in the Middle East for many years. Came back, I married an Israeli, and we lived in Florida for about 10 years. And then in 2019, I got invited to go to UPenn for a program for nonprofit leaders around the country. And there I met a friend who now works at the Brattleboro Museum, who told me about the job, about Next Stage. And within a few months, my wife and 2 children, we moved to Putney. And we've
that was
been
in
here.
2019?
We moved here January 2020.
I was just
and
going to say,
yeah.
that was going to
Wow.
be my point.
Good timing.
Timing.
Yeah, so February 3rd was my first day of work at Next Stage, and 6 weeks later, boom, the pandemic, and so really scratching my head of like new to the community, and when you run an organization whose mission is to bring people together during a pandemic, it posed some challenges. Yeah, but we're here.
But you rose above it.
We're doing well.
Next
yeah.
Stage is thriving, from what I can see.
Yeah, the organization I feel like is growing in lots of different ways. Our community reach has grown. We're co-producing the Ray Masuko concert series here at the Bellows Falls Opera House with Raise the Roof. Where we'll talk about the bandwagon, but the bandwagon has sort of given us an opportunity to explore different communities, and the programming has elevated. Yeah.
So since you brought up the bandwagon, was that like a reaction to COVID, to having that outside, like you thought, oh my God, how am I going to have a concert? And was that how that came about?
Yes, absolutely. We were kind of playing with different ideas to present artists in a safe environment, and it just so happened that there was a community member in Putney who offered this mobile stage, and I thought, it's probably the back of a trailer or something. And when I saw it, I was like, oh no, this has teeth. We could really do something. So we did a few concerts in 2020 that were very successful. And so I approached the gentleman who owns this, and I said, what if we just created a whole brand around this thing? He says, do it, great. And so that launched the Bandwagon Summer Series. So 2 years ago, this upcoming summer will be the third Bandwagon Summer Series in its very official format. And it was a direct response to COVID, and the feedback we got was, this is incredible. Why do people want to go inside to see a concert when the weather's beautiful? And we've done things to make it more family friendly, and it's created a whole community ecosystem around it. So
Nice. We have a clip actually.
Yeah,
Let's go to
Go
clip.
to the clip and people can see what this is.
sure. Well, I
And
can
maybe not. Oh.
I can talk about if you get the clip up.
That looks like a lot of fun.
That does look. I thought when I saw that clip, I thought Mike is going to be signing up.
Definitely.
Yeah, one of the things that has really helped the bandwagon kind of prosper is that we let kids in for free, and so that allows families who are on a budget to be able to come in. I feel in the video we have those kids, the big blue blocks.
Because you sent us a second video and they were in there. I thought maybe they were just down at Retreat Farm, so that's something that you provide.
No, we have
that's
like
cool.
212 blocks that we transport with the bandwagon. Part of it was so we let kids in free the first year, and that was great, but. And my kids were like suspect number 1 and 2, where they were like running in front of the stage, and it was a little bit like, how do I contain this energy, right?
How do you keep it?
Unintended
Yeah.
consequences.
So we wrote a couple grants, and we were able to purchase those big blue blocks, and it's become this like hallmark of the series, and then we go into the variety of the actual programming, but we partner with Vermont-made sponsors. So Bar Hill, Mad River was a sponsor last year. We had a Vermont food truck last year. We're talking to somebody this year about stepping in. So it's really a celebration of community in Vermont. Celebrating, we're in different fields and places to go, and it has. Somebody said, because we sell series passes where you can buy, it's like 50% of like,
they bought
passes.
individually.
And a community member said that she buys a pass every year because it's her cultural CSA. That you get your box of vegetables, and you're like, what do I do with acorn squash? And so
That's a great analogy.
a lot
That's
of the
really
artists most people haven't ever heard of, but they're worth seeing, and so we try to provide as much diversity, racial, ethnic, cultural diversity as possible. So
Great.
It looks so. You I think the thing, it's always in a different location, right? Or is there some locations twice, or it moves, right?
We'll be at different places. So New England Center for Circus Arts will be a location. The West River Park in Brattleboro will be a location. We're talking to the Putney School about being a location this year. The Putney Inn is a location. The Cooper Field in Putney is a location. We were talking earlier, like we've been to Bellows Falls with David Stearns, Wild Goose Players. And so we're looking at different places that we can get electricity, parking, all the logistics that go into it. It's not easy. So
I would imagine that people don't think about that. They just show up and it's fun. That you're the one that has to worry about where's that power going to come from.
Right. And we've tried locations, like last year we did Bunker Farm. We had Brooklyn Raga Massive, which is a classical Indian collective, and they played at Bunker Farm, and it was a fairly fresh cow grazing field.
Oh no!
And it's funny, the Vermonters were great about it, but the artists from New York were like, we're playing in a cow. So we try different locations. Some are successful, some are not. But we try to make it this rotate. We've been to Newfane, we've been to Bellows Falls, we've been to Brattleboro, we've been to Dummerston, we've been to West, and we try to be in multiple locations to bring culture to the people.
I think that's cool. It's like literally diversifying out and bringing something to someone that maybe wouldn't necessarily get exposed to it, especially if I think your prices are tremendously low. $20 to get in is cheap, I think. And if you let kids in for free, then that is that's really pretty significantly
economic thing.
Cheap family event.
Access is a big conversation point. Like, how do we, arts and culture shouldn't be for those with means. It should be for everybody. And there is a cost to produce these things, and there are real expenses. So how do we balance that? And so we donate passes to every public library in Windham County. So 17 libraries get series passes. Last year we started donating to the Food Shelf. This year we're expanding to the Root Social Justice Center. And so we're finding social service agencies and libraries to be able to put tickets to people who couldn't afford to have them come in. And, there are people who say, $20 is an expensive ticket. The reality is, if we were to be a for-profit company doing this, and really tickets would have to be,
it's not even,
and like as close as Northampton, tickets now are $35 to see a show, and so we're trying to, gas is going up, rents are going up, so artists need more money. And so we're trying to make it accessible and affordable, and also not sort of tank the organization in doing so. So it is a balancing act. So I appreciate you.
It's a huge balancing act. And do you find that do you have artists that sign right up to come back? Do you have repeat artists, or is it a totally new slate every year? Or how do you juggle that? You probably have some fan favorites.
We do, and this year we're bringing back two. We have Glenn David Andrews and Underground System that were here last year, and they were so electric, and the audience was so wanting them back.
Wait, what are those? No.
The Underground System and Glenn David Andrews.
Okay.
But we do typically, programmatically, I like to not bring something back year after year. I like introducing new artists to the community, and so there are a few artists, even in this slate here, that we're bringing back that we haven't had for a few years.
Gandalf Murphy.
Slambovian Circus of Dreams. Bala Koyate, who's a National Endowment World Heritage Fellow, has been here before. Burlington Taiko was here 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Reverend Vince Anderson and his Love Choir at the Gospel Music, we had them last year. I'm trying to look at what else we have. Crocodile River Music was our first year, an African music group. We're bringing in a Ukrainian group, a trio from Colombia, a Balkan brass band, a klezmer group, a Celtic music with Cantrip, Afrobeat, New Orleans style music, Burlington drumming. We have Bread and Puppet is coming back for another year. Kiran Awalia is an Indian vocalist who has a band that's really incredible. Her guitarist won a MacArthur Genius Grant recently, I think, in Reza Bassi. So diversity and spacing out artists, and hopefully people start trusting our curation. They go, I don't really know what this is, but they'll see a video, they'll go online, And if it piques them, they're going to go, okay, if Next Stage is doing this, I can trust that it's going to be good and we can bring the family.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Roots on the Roots concerts at the Opera House. They needed to get seed money, so they sold tickets, and people trusted that that they would be bringing in, so they bought tickets ahead of time. Like
Yeah.
we did that. We bought tickets ahead of time, not knowing who any of the artists were at that time, but trusting that it would be. Just like you said, it's kind of like what cultural CSA. You're not sure what you're going to
Yeah,
get, but
yeah,
you're going to
like-
trust that it's great. I can see Mike thinking, where am I going to get my season's pass?
You're right.
Yeah.
Reads me well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean we view the work I do at Next Stage. I view it as a community partner, less as a presenter, right? If people look at Next Stage as merely just we're presenting concerts, I feel like I'm not really doing the living into the potential. And so, as a community partner, how am I building trust? How am I collaborating? How am I reaching out and inviting people into the space, both the physical space, but also the programmatic space, where they know that they can be in dialogue and in relationship to Next Stage. And I think that the longer arc that we have of curation and people trusting that, they can know that we're going to deliver on our promise to the community, and that's something that we're working really diligently about, being in community and
I
taking it
think
seriously.
that's a perfect segue
Yeah.
into the next clip that we have.
Oh, great!
We didn't plan that at
a
all
little bit
either.
background of Next
Yeah,
Stage.
but why you?
I support Next Stage because
It's a place for my whole family to have fun.
It supports local businesses.
It brings musicians from all over the world to our community. I learned about a new musical style.
I feel a sense of community at the Bandwagon concerts.
It supports local artists.
It's a major part of Putney's creative economy.
I had a community meal with my neighbors.
I made new friends at the shows.
It brought an artist in residence to my child's school, and they came home singing one of the songs.
It brings new faces into the region and supports our local economy.
I got to see exciting new theater productions right here in Putney, Vermont.
I always have fun dancing and singing along with my friends.
I was able to attend the Bandwagon series with a library pass.
My kids are allowed in free at the outdoor shows.
There's always great Vermont-made drinks and food.
During the pandemic, it gave my family and I something to look forward to.
It brings diverse cultural experiences.
I always know I'll enjoy myself when I go to the shows.
It's the best place in town to see events.
Certainly a diverse, exciting group of people that you're dealing with. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're like leaning into that that level of curation that really is. I always make the joke that if you know what we're doing, I'm not doing my job. Like if you know what's coming. So we're really leaning into expanding the programming palette. I think Next Stage built a brand through Barry Stockwell around folk Americana bluegrass,
Right.
and we're using that as a piece of a larger programmatic puzzle where we can do ethnic, racial, cultural, diverse programming. We can do theater and comedy and films and dance and even community events. The community suppers in Putney just relaunched, and there's a new committee doing that.
Nice.
We're donating space over to the Putney Central Schools, presenting The Lion King. The kids are doing,
Right.
and
Nice.
so the kids get to be on stage. We just had middle school rock band in the space. We're really trying to be this like huge community arts cultural facility for the whole region. And so a lot of that is, how do we take risks? Not every show needs to make money. Not every show needs to be a wild success. But I think that if you're showing the community the range of potential and possibility, you're bringing the outer world into this region. And I think that, the arts have an opportunity to be a portal for what's going on in the world, and also for us to access as a community points of connection to build community. And that's where I think the magic of what we're doing, and this to be honest, this whole regional cultural sector has the possibilities strengthening the community through the diverse programming.
So we have probably about 3 minutes left. So let's talk about your nonprofit. So I'm assuming you have a capital campaign, and you actively would be. Donations would be welcome, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
How do you say it?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Yeah. So
How can people help
How
us?
can people help?
So Next Stage is a 501c3 nonprofit, and you know, to the point of the artificially kind of low tickets that we offer and all the community donations that we do, you know, we offset that by community donations, by grants, by sponsorship dollars. You know, so much of what the work that I do is trying to find and access funds to support the mission of the organization. You know, the reality is that if we want to see these types of things in our community, we can't take them for granted. There was a story in The Guardian about the Edinburgh Film Festival at the Edinburgh Film House went out, and there's no more Edinburgh Film Festival. And the amount of people going in shock, I can't believe it's not there. It's like, well, were you supporting it? And you can't just support it one or two times. You really need to make a concerted effort. Just like you go to the grocery store and you buy food for yourself. If you're not supporting cultural food for your community, then you can't be surprised when it goes away. And so, you know, we want to be a hyper-relevant organization to this community, not just Putney, but to the region. And we also want to be doing work that strengthens we want to leave our community in a better place. And so those with resources and those with means and access, you know, we hope that, you know, we're playing on the longer arc, that people are going to see the value in that and support it. So yeah, we do a yearly campaign trying to raise money. You know, we send out an end of the year appeal like many organizations, but you can go online and donate.
I was just going to say, if you just have that simple little donate button on your website, which I bet you do.
We do, and it's there, and
there's the information.
Yeah.
And there's the events line, so if someone has a question.
It's actually nextstagearts.org, but it's okay. Just add an S.
Add an S.
Oh, that would be me.
It's
that was
okay.
my bad. Okay, nextstagearts.org,
Yeah.
sorry.
No worries.
Great.
So, yeah, we have one last clip, which is actually relevant.
First, we need to thank you for coming, and I'm hoping that you'll come back.
Yeah, Mike Marty, thank you so much.
Like maybe next month. Well, you have so much stuff going on. It's hard to
I have a
keep
lot to
track
say.
of all
I don't
this
mind.
stuff.
I can come back.
You have a lot to say. You have a lot of stuff going on. You need to really come back.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
But we have a clip right now about an exciting project that happened in Bellows Falls, the Bellows Falls Garage. It used to be a garage, but now it's an apartment complex, and they opened it this week, and here Alex did a clip.
Oops.
Welcome to the celebration of the redevelopment of the Bellows Falls Garage. This moment is the prize that we've kept our eyes on for 4 years, welcoming residents to new homes that they can afford. It feels so good to be here right now, but I have to say June 1st is going to feel even better. So and you all know, what was once a dilapidated, broken down structure now stands this beautiful building, is comprised of 27 homes. There are 5 studios, 18 one-bedrooms, and 4 two-bedrooms. Creating new housing in Vermont is vital. It's essential to the health of the state and to all Vermonters. Those of us that work in this field directly know how complicated and challenging this work is, but the reward is very deep. And that is knowing that our collective efforts are going to provide new homes for people in just a short 6 weeks. That's why we do this work, is because we're going to make a big difference in the lives of the people that are going to move into this building.
We think of housing as a human right. That's why we do this work. We think of it as fundamental to human dignity. And fundamentally, what's happened here is not just homes. What you've all done together to take blight and move it to light. And that's going to lift all of us up, not just the 27 households who move in here, but all of us. So thank you so much for what you've done and you'll continue to do.
Okay.
know, and we're back.
We're back.
But we're gone.
We're gone.
That's it for this week, community. We'll see you next week. It's Mike and Marty. And thank you, Keith.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for
so
having me.
much.
It's a pleasure.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and